Thank you, Amy. In keeping with Bob's wishes, I'll be brief. I know some of you think that's impossible. I mentioned earlier about the modern era, and it's true for those of you who are old-timers, present company included. The modern era in Burlington really came post 128, it began in 1960, and since then we've been an enormous engine of economic growth in Massachusetts. Bob Mercier has led the community for roughly 40% of that period of time. So, and some of you may know that Mr. Mercier matriculated as a potential history teacher. Little did he know that he would participate in making Burlington history. Most of the major initiatives that have been undertaken and achieved over these many years have Bob's stamp of approval. Our low taxes, our AA plus bond rating, AA plus, our upgraded public buildings, our street lights, Cummings property, which I was unsuccessful for 40 years in trying to get something done. Bob achieved that. Our electric supply, we provide that throughout the town buildings. That was a contract negotiated by Bob. Public access television station was created under Bob's watch. The Ice Palace, we own that. The cemeteries. Yes, even trash and sewer were initiatives that Bob put into play. And they all bear the unmistakable stamp of Bob's management skills. Perhaps Mr. Mercier's signature accomplishments have been his involvement in the continuing evolution of our community out of a chemical-based and using manufacturing economy to one much more broadly based in terms of the tax rate and the quality of the development. Many of you who are around, again, old-timers, not that I'm suggesting you are, Bob. Bob wasn't on the job but a year when we had a significant contamination issue which threatened one half of the town's entire water supply down at the well fields. As a result of his initiatives, Burlington has made decades-long efforts in cleanup and water treatment, which have resulted in a clean, abundant, and most importantly, an independent water supply. None of the things that you see in the town could have occurred without water and significant sewer production, the sewer infrastructure. Of course, the sewer production, right? Okay. The hallmark of Bob's service is an ability to take on difficult management and policy challenges and solve them with a fact-based, common-sense approach to consensus building. There was never an opposing point of view, and half the time I've been in that category, that didn't get a fair hearing and review by Bob. He may be leaving his position of leadership in the town, but he will remain in spirit. And everywhere you look in Burlington, his legacy in municipal government will live on long after you and I have left the scene. Our guest, Robert Mercier.
Gary, what band is that? I think it's Santana. Thank you so much tonight. I've got a few comments. I know we're on a 2-minute limit, but I also know that people have exceeded that tonight. So this is a factor of my age. For vanity purposes, these are reading glasses. I don't need them all the time. So this is a difficult night for me. The realization that my announcement back in October will be reality in just a couple of months, well, that reality is just now beginning to sink in. I've been thinking about tonight for a few weeks, reflecting back on how much I owe this community. your full support for my position, your caring during very difficult times involved with my family, when I lost my mother, my daughter going through some surgery, my own medical. You just can't believe the response I was getting to those, and that's Burlington. And of course, friendships I've developed that will be lifelong. And of course, the thousands of residents, elected and appointed officials, business partners, and people I have associated with over the years who made my tenure here so enjoyable and really fulfilling. To all of you, thank you for just being who you are. Let me begin to acknowledge some people who have made, in many respects, who Bob Mercier really is. Please forgive me if I forget to mention someone, but like the Academy Awards, Phil has given me 2 minutes, and the music will begin to play if I don't move through this fast enough. First, of course, and I heard some comments on it tonight, my family. I've been so fortunate in this life to have a terrific family, great friends, and a job I love. Everything I do or have done starts and ends with this table right here. If you've not met my family, you will. My daughters aren't shy. Who hasn't met Rose? Let me introduce some people who haven't met those folks. Rose, my wife. Scott, well, don't clap yet. Scott, my oldest nephew, who also owns the boat with me. That we're trying to sell, by the way. And somebody just canceled on us who was buying it. So we're not too happy tonight, Scott. My good friend Frank came up from Texas. He's been a longtime bud of mine, and we got some stories that he'll probably tell you later when we've had a few. But anyway, my daughters Kathleen and Amy, of course, who you just heard. My son-in-law Mike, my sister Paulette, Arthur, my sister-in-law Janie, and Mike. And my sister-in-law, my other sister-in-law is here, Patty. Where are you, Patty? She's with the Barica crowd. I would not be standing here today without them, their encouragement, their sarcasm, and their unbridled love and support for what I do. That, my friends, is what life is all about. Thank you so much for your understanding, for my passion for the work I do. Next, of course, and I have to put them next, the ladies. Those of you who have dealt with me know that I've always had like a bulletproof vest outside of my office. And that goes back to my first time here, Phil. You remember some of these names, Phyllis and Tony Farrier and a bunch of people. And if I miss it, Anna Webb, and a lot of them are here tonight, which I was amazed and surprised at and very appreciative. Janice, of course, another one of those Barica people, by the way. Jean, Mary, Marge, Sandy, Vanessa, Pauline, always my gatekeepers, my unbridled supporters, my cheerleaders. That's in a positive sense, by the way, not, with the outfits and all that kind of stuff. They were my first line of defense when, for instance, tax bills or water bills went out, and people demanded to see Mr. Mercier. They didn't even know who I was, but they demanded to see who I was. You cannot have a more devoted, professional, and loyal group of people in any environment. They're sitting over here. I see a lot of them sitting over here. I just owe them so much. My success is clearly directly related to your success. Let me give you an anecdotal story about who was the real boss and why my life has gone in the direction it's gone in. First, I have these folks protecting me from all outside influences. I mean, there are some people who never got to see me because they just wouldn't allow it, mainly because they didn't like them. And sometimes they were young and attractive women. I never got to see them. Look, we've got a proposal to give Bob free Wi-Fi for the entire town. No, he doesn't want to see you. Okay. I never got to talk to him. Unless, of course, the dirty little secret. If you happen to know one of them and you couldn't get through to me, the little door would open and in comes one of them with a little note. Bob, I know you didn't want to see this person, but I've known this woman for 52 years in Burlington, and she'd really like to see you, just for all right, because if you don't, well, don't go to work the next couple of days. That's how they protected me, and that's people that guided me through whatever success I might have had. Now, in a corollary to that, my two girls, they knew how to play the game. Just one anecdotal story. We've lived with cats all of our lives because the girls like cats. Well, guess what? I'm allergic to cats. So there comes a day where, unfortunately, our cat died. And the girls were, kind of, we need new cat. And I'm like, oh, this is my opportunity. This is my opportunity. First of all, I'm stuffed up. I can't breathe. This is my opportunity. Well, our aunt shows up, our little aunt. Why don't we go out? You girls are depressed and blah, blah, blah. Takes them to the mall. Not your mall, Rick. I saw you here earlier. But to a mall, to the pet store. And they fall in love with a cat that's about this big. And they buy it. And on a drive home, my youngest, Kathleen, says, you know, Amy, Dad's going to be really upset. He thought this was the opportunity. Her response, I'll take care of him. We now have the cat. The girls are gone. So I've got this cat sitting in the house looking at me like, you never liked me anyway. But I've got the cat. So that's the ladies in my life. The selectmen. Since my re-arrival in 1999, Phil alluded to the fact I was here in 1980, but I don't remember a lot of those years.